Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Design Recharge. I'm your host, Diane Gibbs, and I am joined with somebody that I extremely admire. Thank you guys. Thank you, Mye. I'm really excited to have you on. I'm excited to have everybody for a nighttime. Of course, it's daytime for you, Mye.
Yeah, it is.
Good to see you. I know somebody else. So we've got a lot of new people, and that's one thing about Design Recharge. It is always live. So, and if you guys have questions, you can always type them in the chat, and I'll make sure to get them answered. So let me give you a little brief about Mye. She has an incredible story. She's an entrepreneur. She's super driven. She doesn't let things stop her, but she hasn't always had it super easy. So we're going to dig into that part of her story for sure. The other thing is she's wicked talented on the lettering and illustration. I'm going to show you some of her work in a little bit. And she also is a mom, and she's juggled living in another country and then having clients in all over the world, to be honest. And then she started really in the scrapbook industry. And so we're going to kind of start with that story. So I think it's an incredible story, and really how freelance, or just really you doing your own work, sharing it being part of a community. And then you had twin girls, and then you 7 years later, I believe there's a 7-year difference. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, about 7 years.
7 years difference, and then you got pregnant and you had your son. So kind of share kind of start the story there. And were you already getting work in the scrapbook industry at that point?
Yeah. Before I was a lettering artist, I'm a digital scrapbook designer. So I release products on a weekly basis and I sell them online. I started in scrapbooking in 2009, actually. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good early part. Were you scrapbooking earlier before? Were you a designer, or did you just pick up skills? Or
I started because I saw a friend online who posted her scrapbook work for her family. So I said I like doing that kind of thing too. It's, documenting the memories and all the things for the children. So I dabbled into scrapbooking, taught myself Photoshop and creating layouts. But a few months after, I just kind of spending a lot from school, buying scrapbook products. So I thought maybe I could design things myself. And that's when I dabbled into designing pattern papers and embellishments. And in 2009, I got a break and I was allowed to sell in a store. So it started there. And then after that, I only used a few products from other designers. Most of the products that I used were myself.
you were making them. So were you always entrepreneurial?
Yeah, because I grew up in a family business, so we have a bakery, so that kind of helped me a lot.
Okay, so it wasn't like it was completely new to you, but breaking into a new industry, how long had the scrapbook industry had digital products for sale? I mean, how many years do you know?
It depends really on the designer. So we evolve over time and over the years. So if you feel like your designs no longer matches your current style, some designers just take them out of the store and they do some retirement sales, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, there's really no rule as to how long it'll be there.
But so when you started in 2009, how long had people been selling their products online? Not
I've known some who's been selling for like years, more than 5 years or so. But
so
it's
still
just
you were
kind of
in the beginning.
yes.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, so were you doing any lettering at that time, or was it just really patterns and layouts and things?
At the time, that it was just more patterns and embellishments, not particularly lettering, but more writing. So people love handwritten phrases before. That's the closest thing I would have to hand lettering.
Okay, all right. So Tell us about what happened. So you're putting products out. You're doing one a week or one a month. So your girls are 7 or 6, I guess, or how old were they?
Yeah, they were 5. They were
Okay.
5 when I started the scrapbooking, and then I was putting products on a weekly basis. I have a couple of stores before. I have 4, so I release. I have to release one product for each store, and they need to be different products. So
Oh, wow.
typically because of the exclusivity. So it kind of also helped us financially because I was earning dollars compared to the Philippine peso. That was a big help in terms of financial.
So you were
So
doing stores, you were selling in stores in the United States.
yeah, I
So
was online stores.
how did you make those connections with those? My dog is making some noise. I'm sorry. I don't know
It's
if you can hear it or not.
no,
Okay. So how did you make those first connections with those stores, those online stores?
I was pretty much active in the community, so I joined forums. Forums was a big thing then, so I
Mhm.
have a lot of forums, and I'm very active there. So a lot of people kind of know me in the forums. And then when I started releasing products, because during in the forums you'll know who the store owner is, and
Right?
if they see you kind of producing more products, they would eventually allow you to sell in the store. And that's what happened to me. And after that, I just simply applied to other stores that are more known in the industry. So, and some of them accepted me, some of them, of course, declined me, and that's okay. I just applied to whoever accepted me at the time.
Right.
The most important thing to me is I'm still able to sell my products, and that's the best thing that could ever happen. I just don't think of the other things anymore. I'll just focus on whatever it is that I can do.
So that's one thing I love about you. So sometimes I think people get so focused on what people didn't like or why couldn't I get into this? And it could have just been that it was the wrong timing or it just wasn't the right fit. And instead you
Yeah.
just said, I'm going to just try to somebody else. So I feel like sometimes it's an inner battle for some people. And so I feel like you just didn't let that let that affect you. You said, okay, well, I'm going to go somewhere else and I'm going to try for the next
Yeah.
person.
I,
Okay.
I, I give myself, the grace, and I allow myself to get upset also and get hurt.
Mm,
And it's totally normal. I think those are valid emotions. It's just that you just have to get up after that.
mhm.
You cannot, stay in that negative state for a long time. You have to get up, and somehow usually I'd be okay a day or two. So let's move on
Right.
and find something else better to do.
That's so much when you guys hear the rest of her story. That's so much your mantra, I think. That's like how you get through life. So paint the picture for us. So you're doing how many products per month do you think you're making when your girls are when you're pregnant with your son?
I was doing about when I was pregnant with Alphonse, I was already exclusive in one store. So
Okay.
I'm just doing it's one product, but the product has multiple subsets like papers, embellishments, and then there are smears, and then there are stamps, those different kinds of things. So for one product, I would have 8 sub products. So
Okay.
that's about what I do for a month. And then I bundle them. So I sell them separately. And then there's a bundle that I get to sold at a cheaper
Hmm.
price. So that's how it goes
So
during the time.
okay, so that kind of paints the picture. So my mom's able to watch. Hey, mom. So you're able to kind of supplement your family's income. You're pregnant. You have twin girls that are
Mhm.
almost 7, if not 7 already, and then you're pregnant. And then tell us kind of what happens, um, either right before you have your son or after. Can you
Oh,
kind of tell us
after
that story?
yeah, after
Okay.
yes, the story this is the story that I love sharing because it's kind of special to me and it's very close to my heart. So yeah, um, in 2012, when I was designing for scrapbooking, I got pregnant with Alphonse. And then we were all excited because we know we're having a boy. So after twin daughters, we're gonna have a boy. And my husband, the children, the kids, the girls, and my family are all just excited. So came December, I gave birth to him.
And
And
where were
what
you? Were you in?
I was already in Manila at the time.
Okay.
Yes, I didn't want to give birth to Singapore because the cost is um, it's more expensive compared to the Philippines. So we decided to just go home and give birth there.
Mm-hmm.
So we did, and then uh, what we did not expect was our lives are going to change forever. So because I did not take any amniocentesis or something like other, the
Tests.
test,
Right, right.
all the tests, I declined all of them except for ultrasound. So, and apart from being in the recovery room, I never saw my son. So I saw him the first time in the recovery room, then never after that. None.
That's odd, right?
That's odd, but I did not really suspect anything. They were just telling me that we're still testing him and blah blah blah. So I just let them do the testings, and then the following day, it was the following day that a couple of doctors. Imagine, typically you will just have the OB or the pedia coming to your room, and I have about four doctors at the time. I have about four doctors, and they were there. They told me that my son has Down syndrome, and so it did not just end there, and that he has congenital heart disease, and he would need surgery within the next 30 days. So you can imagine me in a hospital bed. I just gave birth, exhausted, and receiving that news. It was really, really devastating.
And
And
this surgery is very costly.
in the Philippines, it is we were asked to prepare 1 million pesos, so that's about $25,000.
It's a lot of money.
So it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and in the Philippines, we don't have medical what?
Insurance.
Yeah, medical insurance or something. And my husband is already talking about selling the house, selling the car, selling everything that he probably has. And I just told him, could you just stop for a while and, let me think? Just let me think. I don't want to deal with things so harsh. I want myself to, I want me to calm down first and think because I had to cry. I had to let it all out. And I just let it all out until I get exhausted and I can't cry anymore. Know what I mean? I can't bring myself to cry anymore. And when I stopped, that's when I started thinking. So this is kind of how I'm wired. After all of it, I just let it out. And then this is the part where I need to think. And I know since I'm in the online business, I figured I could sell some of my services, such as the website. I design websites at the time too, so I could design websites, and I know that I have scrapbook products, so I would sell my scrapbook products. And I also talked to my store manager at the time, store owner at the time, and I told her that, oh Jen, I won't be able to design for the store for a while because I told her what happened and about my son, and that but I need to put my store on sale because I needed the money. So that's what I told her. And she agreed. And then I wrote a blog post. It was a lengthy blog post informing my customers about our situation and why I'm putting my store on sale I listed all the services that they could potentially hire me to do. And then something magical just happened. A lot of them responded positively. If they could just send me the money directly because they don't want me. I just gave birth and they don't want me working
Right.
just to earn and save for the surgery. So they asked for my PayPal address and I just gave it to them. So because they were asking nicely and I don't really want to be pushy on asking for donations and such. So I never did it in the first place. But when people asked, and then I gave it. I just gave it. And then there was this a fellow designer of mine. Her name's also Diane. She's also Diane, and she told me if I could start a crowdfunding. It was Indiegogo at the time.
Hmm.
And I don't know about anything about it. So I said, I'll check it out and maybe I'll try it. And I did. I put up a website for Indiegogo and I started sharing the links. And
But
yeah.
you had a really good following. You were really invested in the community, in the scrapbooking community at that time.
Yeah.
So, and
Yes.
you had a blog people were following. So that
Mhm.
made a big difference. But it was also that you were consistent in all those many years of you doing from
Yes. That I've
2009
been
to
releasing product.
2012. I think it really, people, it was you. They wanted to help you because you saw
Yes.
this.
Yes.
So tell them the rest of the story.
All right. So after that Indiegogo campaign, my store owner, she told me that, hey, Mai, I'm going to put a charity kit and I will give the proceeds to your son. And she'll be inviting designers to participate and collaborate. And I believe we got over 200 designers contribute to the kit. And there were hundreds of papers and embellishments in that product. It was so big. It was a mega scrapbook kit at the time, and the news spread like wildfire in the scrapbook community. I was getting tons of messages of support, and some other designers even put up a kit of their own, and even store owners, they put up a kit and collaboration on their own, and they sold the products and gave us the sales for those kits. That was really heartwarming. So, and that's why I will be forever thankful to the digital scrapbook community for the help that they gave for our family. And at the end of the campaign, yeah.
Did your husband have any idea how connected you were with so many people? Or did he just think, oh, this is just something nice that my wife does and makes a little bit of money?
He has no idea.
Okay.
I told him what I was doing and I was giving him updates, and it's like, oh my God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then when he saw that that the support are pouring in, it was the first time he told me, this is the first time I have appreciated your job. He thought I was just working online and that I'm just bringing in money, because he's not monitoring my sales. He's not even holding my money. Everything is with me. So I budget for everything in the house and even his salary. So he doesn't know anything about it. So he just know that I'm working online, but all about the expenses and the receivables and the income that I'm getting from it, he doesn't know about it anymore.
Right. So he wasn't even involved. He didn't, you have twin daughters. He just is thankful, but he didn't really know where it was all coming from. He knew you were working, but it wasn't tangible until this happened. Right.
Yeah. But he and the girls, they already moved back to Singapore because the girls are going to have to start primary school at the time. So he was with my mother-in-law. Thankfully, my mother-in-law was allowed an extended stay. So they were the ones taking care of the girls. And it's the first time I have to leave the girls with him. So it was very challenging for him with a new job in a new country and then two daughters studying at a new school. It was a lot for all of us to take.
Right.
But yeah, we adjusted so well. So thankfully it all went well. And the funny thing is, at the end of the campaign, we raised about 11,800 on the crowdfunding, and then my shop sold $5,000 worth of products. And then the charity kit, it sold about $7,000, plus the direct deposits, the PayPal transfers, and all the other sales we were given as beneficiary. We were able to raise $25,000, and Alphonse was able to get his surgery on February 14th, 2013. So he's kind of our Valentine gift.
For sure. So in all of that, in 30 days, you were able to raise the money. They went back, they started, it gives me chills. I don't know if you guys are feeling the chills. Like, I mean, I've got them all down my legs. But to me, that is the power of community for sure. But it's also it's a testament to how you are and who you are within that community, and how involved people felt. People wanted to rally behind you and Alphonse, right? To get him.
Yeah, there was a lot of help.
So kind of give him the rest of that kind of story. So he goes through the surgery. He has to have a couple more surgeries, right? Or is that it?
After that, no, he did not get any. He was supposed to have, because he was born with not just congenital heart disease, he also had retractile testes and then profound hearing loss. That was another blow. But I kind of known it ever since the day that I brought him home, because I brought him home on a New Year's Eve and there were fireworks all over the place and he's not responding. So I know something is wrong. A mother can,
right.
A mother knows, just know. So after that, we got a lot of testing. And in Singapore, he was supposed to have another surgery for the ears. But it did not happen because the probe just won't fit inside his ears. So we were given the option to have hearing aids, but he doesn't like it. He has sensory processing disorders. So many other things that we had to get adjusted. And
So one of the things that when you told me this, I can't even remember when we met, in the summer sometime, I think.
Yes,
met, right?
Summer.
You said for you, this was really, this was a hard process for you. I mean, it would be hard for any mom, but you're an entrepreneur, so you couldn't communicate with your son like you could with your daughters. And there were so many, because of the auditory, I think, right? So, to some extent. But because you really had to put some things on hold. And I feel like in that time, because you definitely couldn't work the same hours. And you were expecting, like, he'll be sleeping, I'll be able to work while he's sleeping. And that didn't
happen. After he was born, everything literally just stopped. And before, I was able to work until 4 a.m. in the morning, just designing scrapbook products. And when he was born, I cannot even face the computer.
Right.
I just can't do anything. And because he has hypotonia, so it's low muscle tone. So a child born with Down syndrome has low muscle tone, and he simply just can't move his hands. He cannot move his neck. So he needs help with everything, like literally. And I have to stop everything just to be able to give him the best that I can and provide what he needs. So I would bring him to multiple therapies, and then multiple doctor appointments. So he had cardiologist, he had the ENT doctor, and then he has pediatrician. The pediatrician is more kind of the specialist for his development and such, and so many other things that we have to consider for him. And I can't do anything at all. I can't do anything at all.
It really hurt for you.
Yes.
Right.
For
it
someone
was really hard for you, because that was part of your identity, was this other things and being creative. So I can imagine this would be really, man, it's, you have all these other responsibilities. You want to be the best mom you possibly can be, but it's also just like, and you told me before that there was also, you weren't able to spend time with your daughters like you wanted. And just, the whole family had to kind of, it was a shock to the whole family.
Yes, because Alphonse needs a lot of time, and my daughters are used to having me around, and there was this big wall between us because I just can't seem to focus on them. I have to focus on Alphonse, and they just felt like I'm ignoring them, but I'm not. And I was able to explain it to them, and it was hard for everybody. It was a very difficult time, really. And the worst part of it was yeah, like you mentioned, I was losing myself. I'm
Mm-hmm.
losing my identity because I cannot work and I can't do anything creative. And that was me. So
Right.
that was me. So that was the very challenging part of it all.
So you kind of have to um, let part of die inside to some extent, but
Yeah.
and just hope that there would be. And that's one thing I love about your story is that you don't give up. You're like, and it gets to a point. So at what point, how old was he when you got to move back and live with the girls and your husband?
He was about 2. We moved because in Singapore, we were just renting places. So we moved to a new place in 2014. 2014, yeah, 2014. We moved to another um, block, and then he was 2. And during that time, Alphonse loves to take his naps during the day, and he would nap for like 2 to 4 hours in a day.
Wow.
2 to 4 hours. But the thing is, he doesn't want me. I still cannot work because when he's napping, he wants me to be by his side. He doesn't want me to leave him there. So I don't know what traumatized him. I guess it was the surgery with me leaving him to the nurse, and he saw me go away, and I don't know if that has if it contributed to that, but he just doesn't want me to leave his side. So even though he's napping for like 2 to 4 hours in a day, I still can't do anything computer related. And all I have to do is watch TV. Watch TV for the rest of those hours. And it felt like, I'm losing myself, and all of these negative emotions, they're slowly eating me up inside. But I was aware. I'm really aware of what was really happening. And I know that I have to do something, because if not, it will drive me insane.
So then what,
So,
and so you're still, until he's 2, you're still alone with him.
yes, I'm still alone with him in a
Okay.
foreign country, no one with me yet. So
So then,
I just,
and this is when you found lettering, right? When you started.
yes,
Okay. So kind of
because
explain.
I can't do anything else. So I just grab a pen and paper, and I just started lettering. I mean, I've been doing lettering since I was young, since I was 10, but I didn't know that it will be my healing. It will become my healing. So that when I started drawing letters, it was fun, and it feels like I'm getting back to my old self again, and that I was sharing my work on Instagram, and people are liking it, and the happiness that I was able to share,
Mhm.
it brings me the same kind of joy to know that people are appreciating my work, and I loved it.
Mhm.
I really, really love doing it. Then it continued for about, I started with letters, just letters. So, and then after that, I thought I draw words, then faces. So it kind of evolved gradually. That's
So,
why it's also the thing that I teach.
mhm.
Start with letters, words, and then eventually grow.
So I want to
And
just read some of the clients that you've had. Just this is
yes.
your from your website, right? It's just selected clients. Faber Castell, right? Don't we all
Mhm.
use those pens and those brush marks? Pinterest. I believe you guys have heard of them. Working, not working. Workman Publishing. That's where you've done some books for them, right?
Covers, calendars
Covers.
mostly.
Okay. Oh yeah. So then Hinkler Books, Skyhorse Publishing, Forte Creatif. I don't know how to say.
Yeah, that's the French edition of my mastering and lettering book.
Okay. If you're in the craft industry, you know American Crafts for sure. Project Life, you probably know as well.
Yeah.
Editions by Marie Claire, and then Minnie Lou Kids and Overwrap. I mean, talk about incredible client list, and this is just a small portion. Um, so to me, this is incredible, right? But it just started because you were, I don't know, I don't know if you would have gone back to lettering had he just been a normal baby, right?
Yeah, I was
Right?
thinking about that too. So when people tell me that he's your lucky charm, I just say, yeah, because probably if not for him, I would never have rediscovered hand lettering again. I would just
Mhm.
be stuck with designing scrapbooking. Not that it's not that bad really, but it's just that it's not bad because it was I am making a living from that for a
Right.
long time.
Right.
But it's just that I rediscovered something that I'm more passionate about and that I am happier. So it was, for me, that was powerful.
For sure. Okay, so I want to make sure people can see some of your work. So I'm going to actually share my screen, and I am going to wait. I had those open. Let me pull it like that. Will it? Hang on. Let me see. I might have to just share my screen. But let's see my whole screen. I know you guys are like, that's what you said you were going to share. There we go. Okay, so this is just some, and this is more maybe recent work.
Yeah, that was for the book, this one.
Okay, so tell them about your book, and then we're going to get more into questions. But I just wanted you guys to, I mean, to me, this is an incredible story, and that you've had these big clients, and we're going to get into that in a second. But tell them about the book.
The book also has a funny story. I was approached to create two chapters of a book for another publisher, and then I told them no. I told them no because I had plans of having my own book in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So I said I can't do another hand lettering book because I want to do mine.
Mm-hmm.
So they just probably they liked the work that I do, so they said, what about you do these chapters for us and then we'll talk about your book after? And I thought it was a scam. I mean, who gets to turn down a job and then get a new job after, right? It sounded really weird to me, but it was true. Turned out it was real. So after working on the two chapters for another book in an Australian publisher, I got an email from my contact, the editor, and we started drafting the contract, and then it has gotten real. It just got real, and everything is going so fast. Typically, a book, someone needs at least 8 months to a year to finish one. I was given 4 months, and then
but you can do it because you have an amazing ability. So with Alphonse, you were able to start working on a more regular basis, but you had to get help for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't like she was, when he was sleeping, he's still on the couch, right? And she's doing this work. So has been able, because how old is he now?
Now he is 5, but when I was starting out, it was really the thing that kept us, I had a client. My first client was Mini Lou kids, and if you can see this one, yeah, that one, the little alphabet book of hand letter type. That was my very first hand lettering project, and it's a coloring book for children. I did that for 4 months, and it was just a very very thin coloring book for children. I did that for 4 months, and I did that during that 2 to 4 hour window that Alphonse is taking a nap because I don't have any help at the time. But after that project, we realized that clients are coming in, and that I'm getting more projects, and I'm just distributing them in the pipeline. And my husband and I decided to get help. And in Singapore you can hire foreign domestic worker, and we hired someone who would help me take care of the kids and around the house, so like cooking, laundry and such, so I could work longer hours. And that's what happened. So after that, 2 years after that, I got the book deal, and we had helper at the time, so I was able to work until like 4 a.m. again when I was doing because I was just given 4 months, and I have to start in January to April or May, something like that. We were negotiating if we can push it until June, but they said no because the release is going to be in October, so we had to send it for printing and things like that. So I was given January until April, but then I was traveling to Japan in March of that year. for 2 weeks, and we have already purchased the tickets and everything. Everything's ready. So I cannot just cancel this trip. So we pushed down the trip for 2 weeks. I was in Japan. And when we came back, I needed, that weird feeling when you're having a vacation and then after the vacation, you need another 2 week of
Vacation.
rest.
Yeah.
It's like an extended vacation. That happened to me. So for 2 weeks, I cannot just do anything. And I know I know that it's something that my body has gotten used to. So I need to just take that break. And after that, I was working continuously for 3 months. So the 4 month timeline has shortened into 3 months
Right.
timeline. And I was working every day, even on weekends, and until 4 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, and everything went well. And I was still, yeah.
Somebody asked if you got like normal would got an advance on your book,
Yeah,
Lorenzo.
yes,
So just
yes.
normal. How did you know about contracts? I mean, obviously you dealt with that some in the past, I would think, right? But
Mhm.
so I think this is a hard thing to kind of manage, and it's hard to be really savvy at it. Do you think that helped you just applying for the different scrapbook stores to sell, so you got savvy about it with that other kind of avenue?
Um, it's different because when I got the book deal and I saw the contract, I know that I know nothing about these kind of contract.
Right.
So what I did was I contacted an art agent whom I know from many other communities. I've been with Make Art That Sells communities,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the other art communities on Facebook. And then I contacted an art agent. She's Jennifer Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
So Jennifer Nelson Artists is her agency. So I hired her for an hour just to help me review the contract and everything. And after that, she gave it back to me and said, you have to change this and that. These terms needs to be like this and that. You have to be paid separately for the book cover. It's not part of the advance. So those kinds of things. And, and ask for more. She said, ask for more because you are not going to accept any client during that period that
Right.
you're working in the book. No client at all. So you're just going to be working for them. So get more.
And
So
sometimes when it's your first and they know it's your first, they know
I
you're
know.
new, so they might be trying to take advantage to some extent, or they just may
To
say, "Oh, well,
some,
you're new. We're gonna just try you out because you're new." Right?
yeah, to some, yeah. And then she also said, ask for a higher royalty
Mm.
percentage. So we were able to raise the royalty to 2% more. And I was able to close the deal to a 5-figure deal. So
So
that was the deal.
this is with a little bit of an investment. Jennifer was not your agent, right? She was
No,
just
not my.
you kind of rented her for her advice
I
for an
she
hour.
offers services on her website, and I just signed up for that. I think it's less than 200, 175, I think. For
So
$175, I got more.
right, totally worth it, right? But it was about investing and doing the research because you knew
Yeah.
and asking. And I think being part of Lila Rogers, the Making Art That Sells,
Hmm.
I'll put all these communities. There's courses you can take, but it's also a community as well.
Yes,
So,
I took the Make Art That Sells all the courses.
so I'm on B, but I haven't finished. But and they break it up into like the
Yes.
A and the B. Now they've kind of switched it, so there's just one thing.
Yes, there's so much has changed.
Right. So Sin has a question. Did licensing come before publishing and the art agent? So
Yeah,
okay. So
for me, yeah.
okay. So because you had done licensing of other products,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Other artwork, not products, but artworks.
Okay. Good to know. So you were
Yes.
kind of familiar with how that part of the industry or an industry like that works.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I know that when I know it when I don't know something, and I like it when I'm learning. So
Mhm.
uh, I just I know about licensing, and that you have, when you license a product, this and that should apply, and the limitations that the
Mhm.
client have, and that your ownership, your rights to the artwork. I know such things, but the book deal was different. It's
Mm.
not just licensing. It
Right.
involves royalty, which I don't know about.
Right.
I know nothing about at the time. So it helped me a lot. It helped me understand. And even with books and research materials that I had, those weren't enough. I simply have to talk to someone who knows the
Mhm.
industry and who knows how these kinds of payments go.
Mhm.
And I don't know. It's just nice.
Is Minnie Lou a American company, or is it, or are
Yeah,
they, okay, so they're an American. A lot of your customer, or a lot of your stores that you were in, they were
yes,
American companies,
American.
right?
Yes.
So, what time is it on Thursday for you right now?
Now it's 10:40 a.m.
Okay, so it's almost 12 hours, not quite for some of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump a little forward. So I think you have a really good business acumen. I think you're a great businesswoman. Well, how else have you developed your skills as an entrepreneur? We've been talking about some of that, and I think a lot
Mhm.
of it comes back to community and asking questions and not worrying about feeling like you don't know what you're doing, that you're fine asking questions, which I love that. But how have you developed your skills as an entrepreneur and grown your business so that you can reach more clients? Because Pinterest, I mean, that's a huge client, or American Crafts, or, I mean, Marie Claire. I mean, so many big, and I think, sometimes we have this like, oh, if I could just get some bigger clients. And I think you
Mhm.
work to that, but you also have to have that kind of business savvy, to know what to do and how to deal with all the contract stuff. What have you done, or classes you've taken, or communities that you've been a part of that have helped you with that?
Yeah, I took the maths even before I discovered hand lettering.
Oh,
I
wow.
was I was already part of that art community. But other with hand lettering, I got more clients by consistently practicing, doing
Mm.
personal projects, and really learning from other people. So I always when I just hang on, I lost my train of thoughts.
No worries.
Yeah, I find opportunities by showing my consistent work. So that always really helped. When I was in scrapbooking, I was chasing store owners,
Mm.
applying to be part of the store, applying to be a seller as a designer in the store. But with hand lettering, I don't want to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to kind of attract clients better. So what I did was I put up consistent work. I would share every day. And there was this kind of, because I have two types of audience. I have my followers, and then I have my clients following me.
Mm-hmm.
So the clients, they like the digital work.
Mm-hmm.
They will always show me what type of work I did. And that's why I knew they like these digital versions of my black and white versions.
Mm-hmm.
And my audience, they like the black and white versions. So I have crazy engagements on the black and white work that I share. I mean, like, I don't have, I'm not big on social media, but in terms of engagement, that was really high for me, at least for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and whenever I would put up digital work, there will be clients coming in. So for me, it's just the constant balance of sharing what your clients need to see
Mm-hmm.
so you can attract them, and what your audience wants to see so you can still stay connected with the community.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that has worked well for me, and it has always been my passion to share my story. I never really shied about sharing my story, because that's really who I am, and
Mm-hmm.
that was really what happened, and I started like that. So who cares if somebody finds it, because I know other people might find it a little bit too much sharing about my son,
Mm-hmm.
but that was really it. So I just share my experiences and hopefully it inspires people and motivate them to just stand up and move
Mhm.
on, and it wakes them up from these dreadful kind of negative emotions that they are currently having.
Mhm.
I have received tons of messages from people thanking me for simply posting something, and
Mhm.
that is heartwarming, and it's so very lovely to hear from those people, because you know that you have touched someone else's life, and it's kind of a huge deal for me.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. So, I think that would probably be a huge deal either way. But I think just because so much came from the community, you're so glad to give back. I think.
Yeah. Yes,
So
that's it.
when you're talking about black and white digital work, the work that I showed is all by hand, right?
Yes, by
That I
hand.
just showed. So when you're talking about digital work,
They're the colored versions mostly.
okay. Okay, so let me share this one. I'm going to share the background of, so this is the newer book, and
Yeah.
so then you have all your tracing paper and paper stuff, right?
Yes.
And
All the
then
sketches are in there.
right, and so and I'm going to share this link for the book as well. So going back to just developing those entrepreneurial skills, was it just trial and error? Were you reading business books, or were you just was it just luck?
In terms of business skills, I think I was highly influenced by where I was brought up. Like I
Mhm.
told you earlier, I grew up in a family of uh, with business. We own bakery, so at an early age, I already learned how to provide great customer service,
Mhm.
and I take pride in it. I take pride in it. So even up to now, I highly value my customers, and that has kind of helped me shape how I view the business side of things.
Mhm.
And then I also enrolled myself in different courses. Like I enrolled in math. I took all of the courses that I can take, and I try to learn as much as I can from everybody,
Mhm.
because to me the best, when you learn from somebody, even now that I know how to hand letter, I still look at courses in Skillshare of other hand lettering artists. And
Mhm.
even if it's just very, very small, and I learned something from it, it's very, very valuable for me. And that is the best experience that I get from all of those learning. It humbles me to know that I don't know everything, and that even a small thing is a big thing if you don't know it.
Right.
So
Right. All right. So you also have courses that you offer. And I was on something, and it was a ton. I saw a ton of your courses, but now I can't find them at all. So I don't know where I went earlier.
I changed my website, I think, about last August, and I'm going to have an online course by end of the month.
Maybe it's just there's a ton of resources for sure, for people
Yeah.
that are free, free things
Mhm.
for people to do. Maybe this is what it is. Okay, it was in the blog. I'm going to share this real quick, so maybe you can kind of talk us through some of the things that are part of the blog. Hang on a second, because to me, uh, so there's tons of lettering things, right? But
Mhm.
I would love to take a class from you that was about getting these bigger clients and getting seen, and
Yeah.
just the business side, I think. So I love that you have a lettering lowercase i's and j's. So it's just that, right? And so it's about the tittles. Um, and then lots of lettering tutorials, and then you have this free e-course, right?
Yes, I have the free book, e-course, and I teach how to hand letter in the alphabet itself. So it's individually, because, like I said, it came from where I started. That was my beginning. That course was how I was
Mm-hmm.
discovered by clients. So
Mhm.
I wanted to share it to the world, and I wanted to share it to everybody who wanted to learn lettering and maybe make a living out of it.
Mhm.
And that will be really a huge deal for me. If someone, I don't need a lot, but if someone will be successful because they've taken my course or they've taken some of the materials that I'm teaching,
Yeah.
I would be really, really very grateful for that.
Right. Okay. So, and since said he would love to take one of your courses as well. Gives you some love. He or she. I'm not sure what. Sorry, you'll have to tell me. All right. So this is one of the things, because it seems like you are pushing your style. You do different things all the time. I still think you enjoy doing things by hand. Do you also
Yes,
work digitally?
yeah. I
Okay.
use Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator, and now that I have an iPad, from time to time I try the Procreate too. But
Mm-hmm.
I still love the traditional way, the
Yeah.
pen and paper.
Right. Well, you got to give Faber-Castell some ink, right? Right. All
They
right.
gave me a ton.
So how do you keep your? And I think you kind of alluded to this. Keeping up with a level of production. It's about practice, and it's about
Yes, it is
time,
about practice.
right? So how do you? Not just productivity. I mean, being productive means that you're able to do things faster and
Mhm.
you're more efficient. But then how do you get to a growth stage? And like, where have you seen the last stage of growth for you? What have you tried? And is there some way we can kind of funnel that down so that you could give us a piece of advice of how we could do that in our lives?
I think that was when I did the book because I was doing a lot of things for the book, lots of
Mm,
alphabets, lots of quotes and phrases and words and styles.
mm-hmm,
So that helped push me
mm-hmm,
to try and learn so many different things in a
mm-hmm,
very short span of time. And I was able to do it. So after I did and finished the book, I tried all of those styles again. And it has helped me discover a couple of things that I didn't know I was capable of doing. Like, yeah. And I also, like I said, learning from everybody. The ampersand that you showed earlier with
mm-hmm.
all of those florals,
Oh, that is beautiful.
I learned that from Jem O'Brien's illustrated lettering technique in Skillshare. So that was a product of a learning from somebody.
Mm.
I never knew I would be able to do that, really.
Oh,
But
it's
it's
incredible. I'm going to pull it up
good.
so people can see. And it's an ampersand that's made of all different flowers and leaves. And if you're listening and you can't see, it's black and white, and just
Mhm.
daisy, a lot of other leaves, maybe a dahlia. I don't know. There's so much texture. Printmaker would love this, I think, it feels like a print. So there's a lot of line showing depth. So it's not real flat if you're looking,
Yeah.
if you're,
I have a letterpress version of that.
mm, I would,
Yes.
that's amazing. Okay.
Yes.
So oh, we gotta hang on. We got another. I would love that on a t-shirt.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
absolutely. Okay, so any new tools or techniques that you've recently fallen in love with, and how often are you trying something new?
I don't try doing something new a lot of times. Sometimes it just naturally happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I did the book and
Mm-hmm.
I learned a couple of new styles, and then I enroll. I don't typically enroll in a lot of classes, but most of the time I do it when on my downtime.
Mm-hmm.
So when I have time to learn, I make sure that I learn something new that will be kind of supporting what I currently know and not really something totally new that I would have to invest a lot of
Mm-hmm.
time in learning. And in the end, it's not going to be helpful with what I'm doing anyway. So I also choose what courses I would have to take and and then just do it. I like diving into things, even if I know it's scary. I like trying things out and but of course, with all of these understanding that everything that you are trying to do should also be aligned to what your vision is, what your goal is, and yeah, just learning all of those things. Being aware of where you want to go is important, so that you know that what you're doing now would be part of everything that you have to do just to be able to reach and achieve that particular goal.
Right. Okay. So how have you been able to, or how were you able to find new opportunities in different industries? So starting out in the craft or scrapbook industry, which is, I also think of this, the craft industry. I guess the craft industry is a broader part of it.
Yeah.
But you've really kind of, I mean, you've broken out of that. You're in the design industry, you're in advertising, there's lots of other things that you're doing. So how would you suggest somebody else, like, is it just about producing consistent work and pushing yourself and being able to be able to present a series, multiple series pieces in a certain style?
I think it also has a lot to do about niching down. When I was in scrapbooking, I was focused on scrapbooking, and then came lettering. I had to somehow let go of my scrapbook designing and just focus on lettering. This is typically something that people don't really understand, don't want to let go. They thought that niching down, you are limiting yourself to just a handful of people. But the good thing about niching down is you are focusing on one thing, and you are getting known for one thing. And when people know about you, they would love to see more of your work, and they would love to refer you to somebody because they know about the work. They know that it was you who did it. And it's not really about the number of things that you can do, but it's more about how valuable it is, the work that you do is for the community and for your clients.
Well, and I think being known for something is much better than being not known. People aren't going to say, oh, well, so-and-so is a designer, but they need to know what you can design or what you can illustrate and how you illustrate. And so I feel like certain styles, it is really important. And I think you change, we adjust, but I think just like how you pick your classes that you're going to take, you're like, okay, I'm not going to just completely do something out of the blue. I'm going to choose something that's still within my style. Maybe it's black and white, maybe it has the detail, but it's going to be pushing you because now you're using flowers and this ampersand. It's still an ampersand, it's still lettering, but it's in a new way. So it's still kind of in the range, but it allows you to stretch. But then really being known for that thing allows you to get more work in that thing because there's trust developed from you, or you have trust, and that company who's hiring you isn't hiring you to try something new. They're hiring you because of something you've already done.
Yes, that's very true.
So, what does a normal week look like for you?
A normal week, well, Mondays, as much as everybody hates it, it's the day of the week that I love the most because it's the day when I get to implement or execute on the tasks that I have scheduled for myself from Friday of last week. So typically my Mondays are my execution days, the start of the execution days, and Fridays it's my scheduling day. Weekends are hands off for the for the kids as much as possible. If I can avoid, I try not to work on weekend because it's very important to me to just stay home and be with the kids. I have tried working and it's not effective, so why even bother? Just focus on the children and the family during the time. So I guess I have learned that with over the years of doing this particular thing, and it worked for me. So work is work. When it's time to work, I tell my kids that I cannot be bothered. So if they have something to tell me, they would have to wait until I come out of the room, and then we'll talk about it. And it's funny because the girls, they love sharing stories about their day. So they are kind of interruptions that I love having that I appreciate that I'm getting, because when you're working from home, there you will get a lot of interruptions, even if you're working, and even if you tell them not to bother you because you're working, they will still come and talk to you about their day and boys. I have
Right.
teenagers, so they talk about boys some of the time. And then there's Alphonse. So Alphonse, there are times he won't eat when I'm not the one giving him his food.
Mm.
He won't eat that. And then there will be times that he would cry as loud as he can, just so I would come out and give him some cuddles, and he will be happy after that. So those are little things, but they're kind of a big deal to me. So even if I'm working, I have to go out and just be with them. It's just a couple of minutes anyway,
Right.
so it's not too much to ask.
So like the 4 a.m. stuff, is that because of the time difference so that you can be on emails and stuff with clients during business hours in America? Or is that just because you're a night owl?
I'm a night owl. I used to start my day at 5 a.m. So I would wake up at 5 a.m. That was prior to having help around the house. But now, because Alphonse co-sleeps with us, he never sleeps early. So
Mm-hmm.
he'd be up until about 1 or 1 a.m., 12, something like that. So if I wake up at 5, I'm going to be a little cranky. And I won't be able to function well. But before, it's different when you're a night owl and if you're an early riser. I think I worked better when I was waking up early than I was being a night owl. But yeah, I just adjust as
Mm-hmm.
things happen. Kind of play it by ear, because there's really no one size fits solution to being a mother and running a business.
No, exactly.
You just learn and you adjust. So whenever Alphonse is having late nights, then I would sleep in, and our helper already knows that,
Mm-hmm.
and she just take care of the girls in the morning, and I'll be when they get back home in the afternoon, they will come to me immediately to the room and talk about their day. So that's kind of our situation right now.
So
And
being able to juggle and being
yes.
able to be flexible, I think you really do have a good boundaries, I think, for your kids. So you tell them it's not just, come get me, come get me, come get me. They're really
Mhm.
respecting you. The door is closed. Don't interrupt.
Yes.
Obviously, you want some interruptions and you understand there will be some, but there's a good, healthy kind of relationship there
Yeah.
that the kids have with you as well. So, um, why was freelancing? We kind of talked about this. I know you can be succinct because I know we're about out of time, but why was freelancing so critical to your sanity and the lettering and just building? Because it's not just doing the freelance. You've actually created
Mhm.
a ton of resources that will help other people. It's just like having a blog and sharing your story. Why is giving back so critical to and having a freelance business so helpful to you as a mom?
For me, that was my healing process.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a very difficult situation at the time, and when I found lettering and I saw how much people loved it, I just want to extend the happiness that I was feeling, finally getting back on my feet again and doing the things that I love doing. So before lettering, I was really in a, the all of the emotions that are trying to eat you up inside. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. But after finding hand lettering, I don't wake up anymore because I have to wake up because that is my obligation. I have to do things for the kids and I have responsibility. I wake up because I have something new to look forward to, not just
Mm-hmm.
all of those daily tasks. And the task of being a mother has become lighter, and that overused cliche, you can't give what you don't have, totally made sense to me.
Yeah.
Because when I found myself all over again, it's like a new day, and I never felt so alive. And the love that I was able to give my family back when I started loving myself again was different.
Mm.
And that's why freelancing and having this creative business was the very thing that keeps me sane
Mm.
and not thinking about any of it anymore. So our normal has changed, but now it has gotten back to that different normal, but still normal.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you haven't lost yourself. You were able to renegotiate time with yourself. But I don't know, had you not had that um, journey, you may not have found lettering like you had found lettering.
Mhm.
And I love that part, because that's just, it was seen as an obstacle. You were very missing the creative, and you just did with what you had. So um Sin wants to ask a question. So what would you like to do next with your lettering? Fabric patterns, baby clothes, lettering for children's toys?
For hand lettering, I want to expand more on the commercial side of things. So editorials, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and more book covers,
Mm.
and what others? Maybe posters for movies and such. So I
Mm.
have those kinds of dreams, but I don't know if it's gonna happen yet. But what I do is this is kind of funny. So like I wanted to do a couple of months ago, I wanted to do book covers, a lot of book covers,
Mm-hmm.
and then because I know that I need to attract publishers, I
Mm-hmm.
put out a lot of digitized artwork. So, all of the digital versions of my black and white, I put it up on my Instagram. And then 2 weeks ago, yeah, I got a new client. I was able to book a new client for book covers and chapter openers. And it was huge. And they're a famous publisher in the US.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
just from showing some work, right?
Yes.
Showing what you want to do. People talk about that all the time, but so often we go with what we're safe, or what we don't put it up because it may be new. So you put up something that you wanted to do, and then and you've been putting up stuff like that, and then 2 weeks ago you were contacted. So it's, again, not
Yes.
giving up, right? Continuing to put up work like that. So I think that's awesome.
Yes. And I knew about it because she the person, my contact, she sent me all of the digital files that I shared and told me, I like this kind of style, this particular style would be nice. And I said, oh, I just put those up a couple of weeks ago. And they found it, and that was the kind of thing. I mean, Instagram engagement is
Mm-hmm.
amazing because you're able to connect with people and humanize yourself and tell everybody that you're real, and that and it gets more connection with your community. However, engagement in itself doesn't give you the job.
Mm-hmm.
The digitized artwork, they're the ones giving me more of the jobs. So I like to keep my portfolio balanced and not clashing. It's like balance. So I don't try and clash all of the things. So if you will see from my Instagram, you'll see just little bits of pictures of with me working, but there are lots of black and white for
Mm-hmm.
connectivity with my audience because that's what they like. And then there's digitized artwork which are meant for clients to see and get work from.
Right,
that's,
right. You're trying
that's
to
how I
paint
do.
the picture of what you can do, and show them regularly. Okay,
Yeah.
so what advice would you give your younger self? And I think Jeremy said, even in the food industry, he thinks that your work could be amazing. Think about all the labels out there that need sprucing up.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I also want to do that too.
So what would you tell your younger self? Or, I mean, I feel like you have had a great attitude. I mean, is it in that really kind of lonely time that you would talk to yourself, or is it in a time, another time?
I talk to myself every day.
But like, if you
I
could go back and
know.
if you could go
If
back
I
in
can go back,
time, yeah.
yes, if I can go back in time, I would tell myself not to be scared
Mm.
and pursue whatever it is, whatever creative endeavor that you want to pursue. Because despite of all the things that is about to come your way, you will get through it.
Mm.
And yeah, just be strong,
Yeah. Do you think with the Instagram, so obviously you have your website, which is Mye De Leon. Yeah.
Deleon.com.
So DELEON
Mhm.
.com. Do you think that people are going, clients are going from there to your uh, website, or are you using hashtags really well in Instagram? Is there anything kind of tips you could give us just about, because sometimes it's just about getting found, right?
Yes. I get 90% of my clients from Instagram.
Okay.
So
So
that's
that's
a
your main
huge
lead.
deal for me.
Yeah.
Yes, that is my main lead. And then they jump into my website because I have a link there.
Mm-hmm.
And then hashtags. So in terms of hashtags, I have a couple of different hashtags that I have already grouped because Instagram has been constantly changing. And
Mm-hmm.
now when you keep using the same hashtags over and over, I think they will penalize you.
They do.
So I try to change them every day, or because I don't post as regularly as I did before. Now I just post once or twice a week because I've been working on the online course.
Mm-hmm.
So I still use hashtags consistently. And when I have products that I use in the picture, I try to tag the manufacturers.
Mm.
Like you'll find that most in my pictures, even the nail polish that I use, I tag the yeah,
Yeah.
I tag the brands because you'll never know what work is going to come your way. And the funny thing was, I used to tag Casio because I had a Casio watch, and there was another watch company who saw it, and then they collaborated with me for another job. So they paid me for just posting pictures and
So
just
even
pictures.
things that
So
we
my artwork, yeah.
might think are insignificant, right? Because it doesn't
Yes.
have to be lettering. It doesn't matter, right? Right.
Yes.
Just so, how many hashtags do you think you're using on a regular post?
They
Or,
say you can post an average of 30. I
hmm
think up to 30, not average, up to 30. But I don't do them in the actual post unless it's a video. But
hmm
if it's a photo, I post the hashtags in the comments. So
Okay.
most in the comments. And it's not just that. So when you have this, like you have a Rumi quote,
hmm
so you will use, I'm gonna use hashtags lettering related, and then motivational phrase hashtags, and then Rumi quote hashtags.
hmm
And it has to balance. You need to have that balance.
hmm
Using hashtags that have a million or more followers, your work is just going to be
Right.
buried underneath all of those new work that's flowing in. So you have to keep a balance of a huge hashtag community, and then there's this just about 10,000 people, and that's the magic number to me. The
hmm
10,000 above, and then I will have 1 million and hashtags with just 300,000, hashtags with 100,000. I listed them all down, and I studied how they are related and classify them. Is this motivational quotes? Is this business related or something like that? So you will see that in all of my posts how my hashtags are different.
I love that. That's super helpful. And I love that you're putting your watch and then you get from another watch company because they're
Yes,
watching their competitors, right?
it is true. Yes.
So, thank you so much. I'm going to make sure everybody knows how to get to you. So, first, you can, I'm going to put it in the chat, but if you are listening to us, you obviously can't see the chat, but it will be underneath the video on YouTube, and it will also be um, in the notes on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. So, Mye De Leon, I obviously in Georgia, there's a Ponce de Leon. That's how we call it. So, that's terrible, I know. But so it's
It's not. It's not. It's about right.
MyeDeleon.com.
Yeah.
And then on Instagram, that is exactly just her name, is
My
DELEON.
DeLeon. Yes.
Yes. And then on your hand lettering book is it's a bit like a bit.ly bit.ly/MYE lettering. And so then that's her mastering hand lettering book, which I hope you guys will pick up. And then the free lettering course, which is on her website, MYEDELEON.com/free-course. And then on Facebook. So Facebook and Instagram are two really big communities and Mye's really done a great job. I've met her through another lettering illustrator, Scotty Russell, and you're really active there as well. So I am so thankful that you really do believe in community, and I'm really thankful that you are willing to share your story. I know sometimes different cultures, it's not as people in Britain don't share as much as we do in America, right? So I'm really thankful for you. It's gutsy, right?
Yeah, and thank you for having me, of course. This is such an amazing opportunity for me. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm super thankful, and I can't wait to maybe do another one. Just to let you guys know, next week we have Angela Navarra back on. She's an illustrator. She's also a mom, and she juggles. She doesn't have to juggle quite as much as Mye. But this is a part 2 for her. She had kind of talked about getting work and doing some of those things. So we're going to dig into a few more things with Angela next week. Regular time, it'll be 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. So it'll be in the middle of the night for you. Well, you'll be up, so it won't matter, right? I'm just playing. Hopefully you get some more stuff. But I really appreciate Mye, we'll just have to do it again. We'll have to do another night.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really nice, and I think it's really nice for people to be able to touch you, right, and ask questions and just see how warm and wonderful you are, and how willing you are to share with us your story, your hero's journey. I think, right, that struggle and finding your love of lettering. So. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you to all those who came to listen and watch us.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you next week. You can always catch me on @DesignRecharge on Twitter or Instagram, and you can always catch more other episodes at rechargingyou.com. We'll see you next time.